Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 61 of the Joyfully Homeschooling Podcast. I am Misty Bailey, blogger at Joy in the Journey and podcaster here at Joyfully Homeschooling. So, how is everybody's summer vacation going? We are getting ready to celebrate Mr. Daniel's birthday, and we are actually, at the time of recording this, in the midst of getting ready for our busy camp season. So my oldest this summer will be going to Worldview Academy, which at the time this airs, she will have already been. But we also attend a Bible camp, and she works out there during the summer and attends her own week. Each of my kids have their own week at camp, and we are all actually, for the very first time, going to all be serving out at camp together this summer, and I'm super excited about that. So we are actually in the midst of our busy season of summer, and at the time of airing, we will be knee deep in camp. So be sure to follow me on Instagram at Misty Bailey _. I don't know what exactly that's called. But anyway, I will be sharing, I'm sure, Insta stories and things like that of our summer. So I'd love for you all to follow me there. But this episode of the Joyfully Homeschooling Podcast is going to be all about our homeschool curriculum. So I actually released on the blog our 2019-2020 homeschool curriculum choices. So I will leave a link to that in the show notes. But I also wanted to kind of go more into detail about our choices and what we are going to be using and why exactly we chose them. So that is what this episode is all about. So one of the biggest struggles homeschool parents tend to have is over curriculum. And if you think about it, every spring you see catalogs upon catalogs of curriculum come through your mailbox. There are homeschool conventions and curriculum fairs every weekend across the United States. Through the years, I've used a variety of different curriculums. And as I said, today I'm going to share the different curriculums that we are using for the 2019-2020 homeschool year. So in episode 7, I went more into detail about our curriculum choices through the years, what we have literally used every single year we have homeschooled. So if you're curious, be sure to go back and catch that episode. But for the 2019-2020 homeschool year, I'm going to have a 9th grader, a 7th grader, and a 2nd grader. So for the 2018-2019 school year, it was kind of a whirlwind for us. My husband switched jobs. I lost my grandma. I had a fairly major surgery, and our homeschool group started our very first real co-op. And I say real in quotation marks because through the years, we've done a variety of different unit studies. And we had what we called a co-op a couple years ago, but we just met once a month, and we didn't really split the kids up into grades. But this year we did a real co-op and actually ended up with about between 50 and 60 kids. And I believe we had near 60 enroll, but by the time we ended the year, there was it was closer to that 50 mark. And of course, each week there were kids missing due to sickness and other things. So it was an awesome, awesome year. My girls did a public speaking class at co-op. All 3 kids did gym classes, art, and other fun activities with our group. And we just really, really loved it. But let's get into the curriculum choices. So for my oldest, she's in 9th grade. She's going to be going into 9th grade. And I absolutely, I don't have words to talk about her really. She has a heart of gold, loves missions, and is praying about God's direction for her life. As I said, she's spending weeks this summer working at our local Bible camp and going to Worldview Academy. And God is challenging me with her. Letting go as they get older is just not easy. And knowing that God may be calling her outside of my comfort zone, reality has brought me to my knees again and again this past school year. I can't wait to see what God has in store for her, but I also just want to hold on to her for a few more years because I just keep thinking of how little time I have left with her at home, and it is sad. It's really sad. But it's also exciting to see, to watch her grow and learn. And it's a little bittersweet, I guess is the right word. So, but after years of stressing about homeschooling high school, we completed our first year, kind of. We realized this past year the reality of how much more intense high school programs are. We've always done a 4-day school week plan, and it doesn't work as well with high school programs. And it's been difficult for all of us to really acknowledge that she still has work to do on Fridays instead of just projects. And whenever we do co-op, while that is wonderful and amazing, she also still has a 5-day course load to finish at home. And so it's been difficult. We made a few changes over the course of the year, including switching to Mr. D Math, and we dropped Spanish. We started off with Spanish with Monarch. We started off with Schoolhouse Teachers. Then we switched to Monarch because it was online and it graded it for us. And then we just dropped it all together. It was just too much, really, honestly, when I don't speak Spanish. But it was a nice way to ease into high school courses this past year was. We did 2, physical science and algebra. And I don't know that we could have handled a full high school course load right out the gate. So just doing 2 classes was a really, really nice transition for us. So I was really torn about the Spanish choice that we made for the 2019-2020 school year. I did a blog post on Big River Academy, and they have a top-notch Spanish program. They really do. Their online classes are great. The cost is comparable to what we ended up choosing, but we ended up going with the fun class. And the reason we did, and I paid full price for these classes. I did not get any discount, no blog promotion, podcast promotion of any kinds. But we ended up going with them, honestly, because of some kids he had working in his booth at the Great Homeschool Conventions in Cincinnati. They really seemed to thoroughly enjoy the classes they were taking, and I had them talk Spanish to my daughter for a good bit. I actually put these kids on the spot. So I've worked homeschool conventions. I know how these work. I know the promotional tactics. I don't say tactics in a bad way, but I know how these things work. So in my mind, when I saw these boys working the booth, I thought to myself, well, they're probably getting paid to work on the booth. They're probably working a little bit on commission based. So do I take what they have to say as truth? What, exactly should I do? So I went up to him and I just started talking to him, and I was like, why do you like the classes? Why are you in this booth? And they were really, truly in the booth because they wanted to be. They lived in the area. They were not, unless they lied to me, they were not being paid by Professor Gamachi, believe that's his name, at all. They really truly came to talk to him and to help him in the booth. And the next day we were there, Saturday, the kids were no longer there. So they were only there on Friday. So that's why I really believe what they were saying. But they were able to talk fairly fluent Spanish, considering they had only made it through Spanish 1. I made them talk to Allison. I talked to them for a good half an hour. And then I did not talk to Senor Gamache at all that day. Then I went back on Saturday to talk to him and to actually sign her up for classes. So that's what we ended up going with. They do, what I liked about them versus some of the other online classes for Spanish is he actually has 2 days a week that they do an hour and a half each day of Spanish class. And so that's 3 hours of solid instruction that they will get. Then in addition to that, they have a 1 hour a week conversational Spanish class where they just log on and talk to each other in Spanish. So that's 4 hours of Spanish instruction that she is getting by somebody other than me. I don't speak Spanish. We're going to be taking a mission trip to Costa Rica next summer, and she wants to be able to talk to these kids when we go on this trip. And I felt that it was the best choice for her, to be able to do that. She said that whenever she watched some of the classes and talked to the boys, that it sounded a lot like Mr. D Math and the way that he approaches Spanish. or approaches class. So that is why we ended up going with the fun class for Spanish. So in addition to that, we also went with master books for an awesome looking apologetics class. I'm pretty excited about it. Allison completed an OutSchool class this spring on the Hunger Games and loved it. So we're going to be doing more of those courses to round out her English credit. So she'll be taking OutSchool classes for writing. We will be using Knotgrass Histories, Exploring America. Another year with Knotgrass History. We're super excited about that. She'll be doing Mr. D Geometry, Master Books, Apologetics and Action, Apologia, of course, for our science. We've only used Apologia. So thankful for them. She'll be doing biology. Then she'll be doing La Clase Divertida for Spanish, otherwise known as the fun class with Senor Gamache. We're going to be doing a forensic science class and co-op for the high schoolers, and that will count as a half a credit. And I don't know if she's excited about it, but our science teacher is pretty excited about it. So we will see how that goes. She'll also be doing fine art classes in co-op cross country with our local high school. She'll be taking some short-term mission trips and then, of course, going to Worldview Academy. So that is what we will be using with my 9th grader next school year. So now it's on to my middle for 7th grade. From the time this girl was born, she has loved animals. God has given her a compassion for furry creatures that cannot be matched. She wants to be an equine rehabilitation therapist and wants to work with horses who've been injured, abused, and that need love and nurturing to recover from their injuries. She volunteers at our local animal shelter, and she is so smart, like really super duper smart. But she doesn't realize it. And I truly believe once she gains some confidence in her abilities, she will be unstoppable. I can't wait to watch her grow and her love for the Lord and, of course, animals in the upcoming year. So for the 2018-2019 school year for Kristen, it went really well. We added to her human anatomy course with dissections, and she even did some job shadowing and watched some surgeries at a local vet office. She took some local art lessons and auctioned off her first piece of artwork this spring. She's an amazing artist. I don't know where she gets it from, but she is awesome. For her, we stayed pretty on course with all of our plans, and she did extremely well. But we will be making some changes for the 2019-2020 school year. So she will also be taking a forensic science class in co-op. Hers will not count for high school credit. She'll be doing art in co-op. She will be doing Knotgrass America the Beautiful. This will be our second time going through Knotgrass's America the Beautiful curriculum, and I am so excited about it. She will also be doing Apologia's brand new general science class, and I am so excited to share with you guys their new general science. It looks absolutely amazing. We didn't do general science with Allison. We went straight to physical, and I've heard the new general science is the perfect transition. Sherry Seligson actually talked to me about that on a podcast episode. If you're interested in it, go back and catch that one. I don't remember the number, but I'm really excited about it. So she will also be doing a few OutSchool classes for writing, and then she will be doing Mr. D math pre-algebra. So we will be having both girls in Mr. D math for the upper levels, and she'll continue doing independent horse studies, volunteering at an animal shelter. This summer, she's taken a 4-H veterinary science class that she has really been enjoying. And then also she will be taking local lessons for art in addition to the art classes she has at co-op. So that is what our 7th grader will be doing this coming school year. So now on to my youngest, Mr. Daniel, in 2nd grade. So he has grown so much this past year. He is reading fairly well considering his special needs. He's working ahead in math, still running about 6 months behind in reading. But when we started the school year, he was 15 months behind in reading. So he really has improved a lot. One big resource that helped us with that is Reading Eggs. So we tried a lot of other reading programs before, Nessie and All About Reading, and we enjoyed them a lot. But he would hit a wall with his speech or spelling ability and not be able to move forward. But Reading Eggs has allowed him to continue on despite his other struggles and work at the level in each area where he is, which has been huge. The past few years, we've not focused a lot on science or history, so we could just get him on track with reading. So we read lots of great books. and done experiments or studies related to those books. We actually combined a little bit of Beautiful Feet books and Apologia. This past school year, I did a blog post on that. I will leave a link to it in the show notes. And we, in our co-op class, we do twice a month that I teach his co-op class. We also did the Beautiful Feet books and Apologia. So that's really all the history and science he's got this year, because we have focused so much on reading. But this coming year, we plan on being more intentional in those areas. So math-wise, we used Math Seeds last school year, but plan on putting him in teaching textbooks in the coming year, because Math Seeds began moving really fast as he moved into the second grade program. And they use a teaching method that Daniel struggled with. I'm not sure if it's Common Core or what exactly it is, but I know that teaching textbooks is a solid program for those elementary and middle school years, and we've enjoyed it so much with the girls. So I plan on moving him to it for the 2019-2020 school year. So Daniel also started Taekwondo classes, which has been, it's been fun. But then he started sparring some of our kids at our last co-op class, and that was not so much fun. So we have to work with him on that. But I heard that Taekwondo is great for kids with ADHD, and so we signed him up, and he's really enjoying them. He also is loving soccer still. He's played soccer since he was 3, loves it, and is in speech therapy 3 times a week as I write this, but we do plan on dropping 1 session each week before the next school year starts, because he's made such huge improvements in speech, and we're just really proud of him. So currently, he wants to be a farmer, a soccer coach, a preacher, and a cop. So we'll see what God has in store for him as he grows. But for Mr. Daniel, we're going to be using Knotgrass, our Star-Spangled Story. So all 3 of my kids will be in Knotgrass American History, and I'm really excited to have them all 3 studying the same time period. We're planning on doing Knotgrass History Project Days twice a month, where we're going to just kind of combine all of the projects from Knotgrass and work on them all together, and I'm super excited about that. We're also going to be using Apologia Science. We're going to go through all of the elementary books, planning on letting him pick and choose what he's interested in. So we're not going to focus on just one book, but we may do a month in flying creatures, a month in astronomy, a month in land animals, and just kind of see where he goes. We also have been partnering with Apologia on videos for science experiments. So if you go to Apologia's Facebook page, you will see my kids in some science videos going through the experiments. So we will also be filming a lot of the projects we're using for all 3 kids. All the projects we're doing for all 3 kids in Apologia Science. So be sure to check out their Facebook page and keep an eye on my kids and the science experiments as we go through them in the upcoming school year. And they have quite a few already uploaded on their Facebook page if you want to check those out. So he will also be doing Teaching Textbooks 3, Reading Eggs, and then, of course, co-op classes. So that is what we're going to be studying for the 2019-2020 school year. If you go to the blog post related to our curriculum choices, you will see we are also going to have an American History morning basket, and you see what we plan on putting in our basket. So are any of you using the same curriculum choices? I would love to hear from you. You can always shoot me an email, misty@joyinthejourney.net, if you have any questions about any of the choices we are going to be using, then please shoot me an email. I would love to chat with you. I also have a Facebook group. It's not super duper active, not for lack of trying. People just don't hop in and ask questions. But if you would like to go to that, it's Joyfully Homeschooling Community on Facebook, and you can absolutely post questions in there about any of the curriculum choices, share what you're going to be using. We can chat in there as well if you don't want to email. So anyway, that's it for this episode of the Joyfully Homeschooling Podcast. I'd love to hear again what curriculum choices you're going to be using. And until next time, enjoy your summer vacation and have a more joyful home time, unschool time, whatever it is you want to call it, as we're still relishing the last, or actually we're in the middle of summer. Anyway, you know what I mean. So have a great and wonderful day, guys. Thanks. Bye.